Good evening. This is Rudy Giuliani. This is America's Mayor Live. And our astronauts are down and safe after Biden had them isolated up there for 9 months. Now, I don't know if it was on purpose, but I believe the worst of Biden. So anything that's bad, he probably did. And I can't imagine why Musk couldn't have done this, as he says, 5, 6, 8 months ago. Same rocket, same situation. Offered to do it. He didn't want to make Musk a hero. He didn't want to make Trump a hero and let those people go crazy up in space. Would be perfectly typical of a guy who sold us out to China, sold us out to Russia, sold us out to Ukraine. What would he care? And how about this? You want to get deep into his character? I don't think to this day he's met his granddaughter. Okay, you get the point. So the astronauts are now down and safe, I take it?
That's right. We're showing some video.
Shall we show some video of our brave astronauts who, imagine going up there for 5 days and you're up there for 9 months?
Can you imagine? I mean, even mentally, right?
Now, how much room do they have to move around in?
The recovery team member, it's incredible.
A little bigger than a New York apartment, I think.
Here it is. That's what you're looking at there.
So
Capsule in the water.
Well, there are two in the water.
That is a boat.
Oh, the little one is the boat, and the thing that looks like the teeny dome is the capsule.
I'm going to bring NASA's feed up because they really did a good job of showing you.
And how many were in there? How many? A lot of people came out of there.
If you're wondering what that hole, that
Here. This is a better video. So that's it, sitting in the water, Mayor. And
so how many were in there?
4 people. 4 people were in the capsule that was landed safely, including the 2 astronauts that were stranded. If you look up, you'll see some of the boats and vehicles that came to meet them once they landed. But of course, let's see here. We had 4 astronauts on this journey, including the 2 that were stuck up there for 9 months. Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams, they're safe and sound. There's some picture. We're getting some live. That's not live anymore. That's about an hour ago. But Butch Wilmore, 62, and 59-year-old Suni Williams, splashed down off the coast of Tallahassee, also known as the Gulf of America, aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule just before 6 p.m. Eastern Tuesday, concluding a 9-month stint in space that was only supposed to last 8 days. The duo rode back along with American astronaut Nick Hague and Russian cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. The 4 individuals were extracted safely from the capsule.
I think the two that came back with them had a lot of experience of long periods of time in space to help them. Yeah, but the Russian may have spent more time in space than almost anyone.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
And so what you're seeing on screen now is the capsule in the water in the Gulf of America, and you have a boat right next to it. That's what you're looking at. And those boats had sped over. If you notice these speedboats, see the speedboats racing over. Right here, you'll see on screen here. There's 3 boats and another vessel trailing behind that immediately made its way out to the capsule upon its landing. There's the capsule bobbing up and down in the Gulf of America, and there are the boats. So those are the speedboats making their way over. So all 4 safe and sound back aboard the vessel, making their way to shore, and of course will undergo a number of tests.
All of which, by the way, you should thank them, will be very valuable to us in so many ways in trying to figure out how to understand the human body, how to cure us, how to keep us healthier. All of these missions have yielded so many other side benefits that they're invaluable. Probably scientifically one of the most brilliant things we ever did. And the fact that Trump wants to revive it after, the Democrats and even some of our Republican friends had thought, well, America's finished now. We can't do things like this. We can't think big. What a terrible thing. When the greatest country on earth can't think big, the world starts to shrink because everybody else thinks small. They think they're thinking big, but they're actually thinking for their own greed, their own. We're probably. Oh, come on. All you people who hate America and get angry at me now, but I want to get you. I wish I get you really angry. We're without any doubt the most altruistic country in the history of the world. There's never been a country that's been as altruistic as the United States of America. I am fully aware of our infirmities, but everybody else fought in wars to take territory. We fought in wars, as Colin Powell said, to find a little place to bury our dead and make you free.
Right.
And see what we get from France. And well, in any event, they're safe, they're back, and there is no possible way to completely understand until maybe 20 years from now the enormous benefits we just got from this, from all of this. Benefits that I'm probably not even going to understand, and benefits that we may not even trace to this completely.
Well,
but
I don't understand space, Mayor. I don't understand what's up there when you're there in space, outer space. There's no air, right?
Right.
So what is between when I'm holding my hands out in space? What's between my hands?
Why don't you call them up and ask them?
Maybe
How do I know? I've never been there either. You want me to tell you what's there? How do I know what's there?
But that goes to what you were saying, right, Mayor? Just the courage it takes, and for these men and women to do what they do.
That stupid thing, going out of there and it's floating around like they do up there, like that.
I can't.
You don't even know where you are.
Yeah. 17-hour journey.
Actually, the part that the claustrophobia would get to me.
Yeah.
I think I would want to go out into space and figure, well, let's see what happens out there. But being locked in like that, ooh.
17-hour journey. They start out traveling 17,000 miles per hour as it descended into the atmosphere. As it makes its way into the atmosphere, it's soared across the Gulf of America at a red hot 400 miles per hour.
It's going to be amazing the effect on their body, which all of which has been registered, right? They're probably hooked up to every kind of monitor imaginable. So you're going to get enormous further understanding of the human body, the human brain, the heart. Oh, my goodness. This is wonderful, and it's wonderful that they're safe, and it's wonderful that we finally got, two Americans who can do things opposed to sitting there, chewing on their fingernails. And
right. That's a feel-good story if there ever was one. Mayor, we have some more breaking news within the past hour. The long-awaited document drop of previously redacted files related to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy back in 1963. The president ordered the release of over 80,000 files. They have now been released.
Wow.
They are available online.
Wow.
There is no executive summary that I can see at this point. I think the president even mentioned yesterday there would not be.
Well, that's good, because an executive summary becomes somebody's editorial decision as to what's important, what's not important. This has been long enough, so we might as well take the time to go through it and make our own decision. I like that.
Right. And this just happening within the past hour, Mayor. It's still not clear if any new information about the death of the 35th president is covered within the newly released files. Most of these files early on, the reaction most of these files, newly uncovered files, appear to relate to the initial investigation of the assassination, which was done by the Warren Commission in 1964. Again, this happening within the past hour, so we're just pouring over it now. We have a few members of your crack staff looking into it. Of course, that's
going to take a while, and it'll be one of these things where a week from now somebody will come up with something and say, "Oh my goodness, look at this and look at that." But there's no way to know. Also, after all of this time, and given all of the possible motives to cover things up, I mean, the fact that the government held them for so long makes them less than credible.
Right. What is your reaction to today's release?
I seriously doubt we're going to find anything really terribly amazing, because I think if there was something terribly amazing, it's been removed. given the corruption of our government, which I would not have said 10 years ago. I'm sure that somebody's been through this before and gotten rid of anything that would be terribly damaging to
CIA.
the CIA, Lyndon Johnson, whatever.
It could have been removed decades ago.
Yeah. I don't know how you can trust it. When the government does this, it's like what they're presently constructing with the Trump assassination.
Right.
How are we ever going to trust their investigation? I stopped trusting it the day of the investigation, the day that it happened, and the FBI said, no, the day after, the FBI was asked, "Is there any evidence you can share with us?" And they said, "No, we haven't had a chance to investigate yet, so there's no evidence really of any credible nature that we can share with you because we haven't had a chance to investigate." The next question was, is there any evidence or any indication that there was a third person or second person or third person involved in it? Absolutely not. Definitely not. Well, now, I don't know. I pride myself on having a logical mind, and it just blew up at that point. I said, you just told me that you'd investigate. Now you're telling me that you can prove a negative. You may never be able to prove that nobody else was involved. You don't prove that in an investigation usually. You're always left with a little conspiracy theory in any investigation because you never solve it completely. You just told me that you solved the most difficult thing already, but then before that you told me you haven't. How did you solve it? What did you use a crystal ball, or did somebody tell you you're going to cover this up? So I'm sorry. It's the FBI. It's the organization that tried to frame him a Russian collusion.
Right.
It's the organization that found out that Russian collusion was a joke, was wrong. It wasn't true. Peter Strzok said there's no there, and then went ahead for 2.5 years and spent $100 million trying to prove what it knew was false. It's the organization that withheld the hard drive so that we, the president and I, could go through 17 months of being accused of being Russian agents when, in fact, the FBI knew it was absolutely untrue. And now the FBI has the investigation of the assassination of that man. Now, if you trust that, you're a fool. If you trust the FBI's investigation after what the FBI, and I just picked 2 of about 5 major criminal activities on the part of the FBI, those are not investigations. What the FBI did was engage in crime. Now, would they cover up an investigation of Trump? I honestly don't see any reason why they wouldn't. They did everything else. I predicted it a year before. I went to him and said, with Bernie Kerik, Mr. President, be very careful because they've done everything to get rid of you. It's backfiring like crazy on them. The only thing they haven't tried is to kill you. There were 2 attempts to kill him. Now, in the business that I come from, I'm sorry, coincidences become things you investigate. Coincidences don't become true. They become things you investigate. Not all coincidences are true. It is not always true that the person with the biggest motive commits the murder. But if you don't investigate that, you've left a gap that suggests that you're corrupt. So who had the biggest motive to kill John Kennedy? Why don't we just go through that exercise? Who had the biggest motive? I say Lyndon Johnson did. Lyndon Johnson wouldn't have been president of the United States in a million years. I mean, he didn't even legitimately get elected to the House. He had to buy the election when he was a kid. Lyndon Johnson was an awkward, not terribly pleasant man who was a brilliant majority leader, an extraordinarily corrupt individual, and had no talent as a politician, none. He would not have been nominated. Kennedy trashed him for the nomination and picked him because he had to in order to win the state of Texas over the bitter objection of his brother, Robert F. Kennedy, who felt he was too crooked and dirty for them. He was feeling the threat of being excluded from the ticket. if you've ever read his biographies or talked to people who know him, he was an extraordinarily insecure man, to the point of pathologically insecure. So was he behind the killing of Kennedy because it was the only way he could receive the only thing he really cared for in life, being president? I don't know. I know they never investigated properly so that we could feel comfort that he wasn't. And I say you don't properly investigate a murder until you exclude the person with the biggest motive. Now we come to the Trump, who had the biggest motive to kill Trump. Well, a couple. Biden, Harris at different times, right? The Democratic corrupt machine that's making billions off their power and their ability to manipulate the American people. The Soroses, all those people. They all should be investigated. None of them were investigated. None. Not even one bit. So this could be a useless investigation. And the fact that they've taken so long and know nothing about the first guy and very little about the second guy is terrible. So the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 under John Adams has really come alive. And President Trump is using it to throw the Tren de Aragua and the MS-13 people out of the United States. Now, let me remind you who these people are. The MS-13 people go back to the day that he came down the big steps, and that's the ones he called animals. That was terrible that he did that. They had just chopped, the head of a girl off, and he just lost his temper and called them animals. The first thing that said to me, wow, maybe he can win this one. He's actually will call things for what they are. And then Tren de Aragua, completely a creation of Joe Biden. They didn't exist in America before Joe Biden. He opened the door and he gave them printed invitations. They came in and they've taken over a major area of organized crime in America. They have any number of enterprises, big on human trafficking, taking girls and using them for prostitution, taking boys and using them for prostitution. They also, of course, are very, very big with fentanyl, although they may at some point have to have a showdown with MS-13 and some of the others, we'll see, and with the Mexican cartel. And they're not as big as the Mexican cartel. Mexican cartel would take them out. So Trump got them all together, put them on a plane, and sent them back to Venezuela. Some idiot, moron, left-wing, American-hating judge appointed by a Democrat tried to enjoin it, but he did it too late. The plane was already in the air. He wanted the plane brought back. By the time that order reached the Justice Department, it was outside the jurisdiction of that judge. That thing is not worth the paper it's written on. I'm sure that's where the Justice Department Office of Legal Counsel advised him. I did that once to Joe Bonanno. That's how I finally got Joe Bonanno in prison after all those years of not being in prison. I knew they were going to subpoena him. I was supposed to get up at 8 a.m. They would count on it. I took him out of the hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning. The marshal, who's a great guy from Brooklyn, Joe was complaining about he didn't have his shoes. Joe took his shoes and slapped it on said, "Here are your shoes, you effer." He got on his plane, and by the time the subpoena was served in the hospital, he was halfway across America. I'm sorry, Judge. Did you do that to avoid my subpoena? Sure. Your subpoena doesn't mean a damn thing until you serve it. So this is what happens. It is perfectly legitimate, and the court explain to me why you want to keep rapists, murderers, child molesters, and killers in the United States, Judge. What is it with you guys? Well, let's see what happens when we get to the Supreme Court, because I don't think somebody elected you president and you're destroying the three branch government that we have. We're going to take a short break, and we're going to be right back.
Here we are, pretty much at the beginning of the process here at this pristine, I call it a laboratory. It's not like a factory, it's like a hospital. This is the beginning of the process for roasting. Deep green, very good quality. Most people don't use this quality. We deal with small farmers because we like to know who we're dealing with. They give us the highest quality, all organic, non-GMO. You should know all Arabica beans, no Robusto, all Arabica. They're going to go into the roaster, and it'll get roasted for about 20 minutes or so. Oh my goodness, look at these.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal. 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month.
Wow.
Including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely.
Welcome back. It's Rudy Giuliani, and I am here.
With Mr. Steve Schmidt.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Who is the head of what?
Department of Deep Thought.
The Department of Deep Thought at the America First warehouse, which means that this will be a very, very deep analytic conversation.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, you should know it doesn't go that deep.
Okay, somewhat deep.
Somewhat deep.
Okay, we'll
yes.
make a little. We'll make a teeny bit of a change in the boss's description.
Yeah.
This is the Department of mostly Deep Thought.
Mostly, yes, and it's an honor to be with you this evening.
So tell us a little about what you do, because what you do is fabulous, and I'm going to show a couple of pictures of what you do. But I do have to say, try to be quick because the police may be showing up at any time to throw us out.
Ooh.
They don't like big trucks. They don't like big trucks on Palm Beach.
West Palm Beach.
Lucky they know it's Donald Trump's friend.
Well, I moved to Naples, Florida
Right,
6
right.
months ago,
We were just in
expecting this to be a free state.
Yeah, we like it. Is
Yes.
Isn't it nice?
Yes.
You like Naples?
I do like it. Yes,
Yeah,
I do.
was
Has
in
a
Naples over the weekend.
has
I
a
love
good
it.
vibe, Mayor.
Yeah,
Has a good vibe.
agreed.
So I have known Joe the Box, who you'll have on for over 25 years. And Joe, a number of years ago, saw his country in distress, right? So we had the border invasion, enormous reckless spending, enormous unsustainable debt, and election fraud. Something, if you have
Right.
If you take issue with any of those, please let us know.
Yeah.
But Joe saw that, and he was determined to do his part to save America, to advance the America First agenda and make America great again, to preserve freedom,
God bless
and
him.
yes, to preserve freedom and to save our beloved land and people from Marxist tyranny.
Mm.
So Joe started the America First Warehouse. And during COVID, when Joe's business prospered, unlike many small businesses, his prospered. And whereas most people would have put the money in their pocket, Joe plowed it into the America First Warehouse,
Which is beautiful. You've seen some of our shows with
Yes.
the America First Warehouse, and we'll play a few of them. We'll play a few of them tomorrow. When hopefully we get Joe back again, so you can see what it looks like. But it's I don't know. It's a combination of a lot. It's like a living museum.
yes,
It's not like a museum like Dead where you walk around a museum. There's a museum where a lot of things are going on. It's a performance hall.
yes, yes,
And many different ones. One big one, and then a lot of little studio places.
right. Live production studio, right? And it's an event center.
Meeting place.
Yes, it's the most patriotic venue in the land, a gathering place for patriot fellowship, education, empowerment, entertainment, and the folks love it. A lot of the patriots that come, they say it's Disneyland for America First patriots.
100%. And then, of course, a great deal of memorabilia of all different kinds having to do with having to do with love of America.
Right. So
And it's a place where you can come. You don't have to feel embarrassed about loving your country.
right. And the premise, Mr. Mayor, is the following: that right now, if working definition for evil, systemic lies, deception, and corruption. And evil has really been ascendant in this country for way too long.
Oh, gosh, well put, yeah.
And with the forces of evil that are aligned against us, we at the America First Warehouse believe that only God, one nation under God, only God of the Bible, our human agency, and the America First agenda can heal and restore our land and its people.
I 100% agree with you, and I think you put the emphasis on exactly. I mean, there are a lot of things we have to do, but it begins with that.
Yes.
If this isn't done with God guiding us, it's not going to get done. And if it is, we're going to have the strength to do it.
Yes. So we believe that we always must put God first.
And they took him out on purpose. They took God out as part of the Marxist purpose for changing this country, which is why we have to fight to put him back.
It's right out of the communist Marxist playbook,
yeah.
Indeed. And one of the things that we love about Donald J. Trump, and this is really one of the themes. You know that Joe recently was awarded the American Patriot of the Year by the Queens Village Republican Club, the oldest Republican club in the country. And the reason for that is Joe is a guy he personifies serving God, family, and country, and he exemplifies using his human agency for to make a profound positive difference. And one of the key things is putting God first. That's why we even sell at the America First Warehouse, America Must Put God First coffee mugs, which are a great compliment to Rudy's Coffee.
Yeah, you can have my coffee in it.
Yeah.
It'll make my coffee holy. So, Steve, when did you didn't, for the amount of impact that you have and people that you have and people that come there when I go there, it seems like you've been around. You're pretty new.
Me?
No, not you. The whole thing.
The warehouse. Yeah, I was gonna say I spent my career in technology business management, right?
Yeah, but I mean, is it like 5 years, 6 years?
Yes. So yeah, Joe, what year did you start this puppy up? Yep.
There you go.
Yeah. So, and one of the,
it was started when Trump ran the first time.
The first time, yes. And Joe can tell his personal story a little bit more. Yes, indeed. So we've had amazing people beside yourself. We've had amazing people at the America First Warehouse. We've had Cash Patel. We've had Tom Homan, Marjorie Taylor Greene, so many great people.
yeah.
Professor John Eastman. I'm a
Don't
disciple
you
of
love
his.
John?
Yes. So I contend that so President Trump, you and John Eastman, probably the top 3 persecuted America First patriots since the 2020 election. And I also assert that both you and Dr. Eastman are truly national treasures.
That's
And
nice.
yes, absolutely. And I was fortunate enough to have a wonderful conversation with him about the judicial insurrection that's going on in the country. By the way, we have just under 700 federal district court judges in this country, which means we have almost 700 unelected president wannabes. They think that they're president, right? Dr. Eastman, we had a great conversation about birthright citizenship. And the reality is, this is something, Mr. Mayor, we really need to put a spotlight on. And I think you are very well positioned to do this. From a legal standpoint, this is a slam dunk, right, on legal grounds. But because of the politicization of the Supreme Court and the question mark with Roberts and Amy Coney Barrett, the actual outcome of that is in question, unfortunately.
Yeah,
but the merits of it and original intent, it's a slam dunk.
The chief justice seems to have gotten his nose out of joint because the president said that. I don't know if the president said it. I think Musk said the judges can be impeached. Well, they can't.
They can.
I mean, what are they, gods? I was a law clerk to a federal judge who was my second father, Lloyd F. McMahon. He was the chief judge in the Southern District of New York. I'll tell you just a little about him. He prosecuted Frank Costello, who was the leading mafia figure of his time. He argued the Rosenberg case, the last spies to be executed in the United States Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit, and got them killed. And he was a military hero. He was a great lawyer. He was a great trial lawyer, and he was a great judge. And having said all that, he would say the following, and I used to repeat it at all my lectures on leadership. And I used to say, if you ever get a big position, this is what could happen to you, and you got to guard against it, because you can think you know everything. He used to say, you know, when federal judges get appointed, some of them actually believe that they were appointed by God. They believe that God came down and put these robes on them and that they're superhuman. He said, here's the truth. Every federal judge is appointed because they're a Republican or a Democrat from a sleazy political process. And what they have to do is rise above it rather than act like they're too important. And the ones that can realize what their weaknesses are and compensate for that are the ones to become good ones. And so the same thing is true if you run a government agency, if you run a business, you got to figure out your weaknesses. He used to say, if you don't have weaknesses, go ask your wife. She'll tell you right away. She'll explain to you your weaknesses. And then go fix them. And the fact is that federal judges, not all of them, but they do have a big complex, that they are omnipotent. And they're not. And in fact, our Constitution was devised so that they have only a share of the power. And to some extent, they were considered the least significant branch of the government.
Right.
And they've made themselves the dominant branch of the government. But in any event, I think Trump is working around it. And I think the examples he's giving right now appeal to the common sense of the American people. How can I run something if I can't fire people?
Yeah.
How can you give me, you own a company, you hire me to turn your company around.
Right.
Your company's losing money, you hire me to turn it around. What am I going to do? I'm going to fire a third of the people in the company, right?
Well, you're the chief executive officer.
Otherwise, most likely it would be making money if you had the right people. I got a baseball team. For the last 5 years, it's been in last place.
Right.
I'm going to stay with the same baseball team?
Right. Exactly. Mr. Mayor, it's amazing that it seems to be lost on so many people that Article 2, a president is in charge of the executive branch.
Right,
and it's like a business, and you're the chief executive officer. And you have really, plenary power with respect to the administration of that executive branch, just like the CEO. Right. So it's really, it is outrageous. They're doing everything we know to try to undermine him it's really they're trying to stall him as much as possible,
absolutely.
right? It's a
They,
race
they
to the
figure they
midterm.
have 4 years, and they're going to try to wait them out. And but maybe we have plans for them after those 4 years.
Yes,
Well,
the guy.
Steve-
He by the way, is a brilliant businessman and strategist. We believe that Trump is playing three-dimensional chess, while most of the others in both
100%.
parties
Brilliant.
are struggling
Brilliant,
to
Steve.
play checkers very
Absolutely.
well.
Absolutely
Certainly
right.
on the global
They
scene.
don't even stand the first level. That he's
Yeah.
at. Well, thank you very, very much. We're going to have Joe on when we come back. Although
Yeah,
I'm gonna
Mr.
show you-
Mayor,
I'm going to show you.
I'm
a
not
couple
as-
of, I'm going to show you a couple of pictures on how he disrupted Palm Beach today and almost got me thrown
Yeah.
out.
So I'm not as colorful as Joe the Box, but I may be the first person on your show to undress the America First warehouse.
No, come on.
Put it on your bucket list,
We
folks.
can't see it. A whole thing. Look at that.
All right, I'm gonna have to take the shirt off all the way. Okay. The America First warehouse,
That is a
the most patriotic venue in the country. Thank you again.
We'll be right back. That was a heck of a T-shirt. Wow, I like T-shirts too.
Can you get me a Johnny Blanket eye?
Ooh. What?
All right. Thank you,
Anyway,
Mr.
stay
Mayor.
seated. Stay seated.
Oh.
Thank you, Steve, for all you do, and joining us. We'll be right back.
Are you ready for some action?
I'm ready for action.
Get the Elite TV plan only through the portal, 218 channels, and it's only $69.95 a month,
Wow.
including your free portal.
That's cheaper than everyone else.
Your favorite sports, movies, news,
Wow.
even daytime dramas. We're talking about ESPN, OAN, Newsmax,
Wow.
channels you can't get anymore in certain areas.
Compared to the competition, this is a way better deal.
Endless selection. Not to mention all the free music channels. There's over 700 premium and classic movies all ready to go.
Wow.
Plus, they got catch-up TV that allows you to go back and watch what you've missed or want to watch again. Cut your cable in half and get twice as much for free.
Way more channels for half the cost.
After the first year, the subscription then drops to $57.95 monthly,
Wow.
where you change or upgrade anytime. Go to QUXNow.com and get yours today. Use promo code RUDY. Act fast. These deals are selling out.
U.S.
Time, right, Rudy?
U.S. Army Major Scott Smiley paid a high price serving our nation. Scott was leading his platoon in Iraq when a blast sent shrapnel through his eyes, leaving him blind and temporarily paralyzed. Scott would become the first blind active duty military officer before medically retiring years later. Thanks to friends like you, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation gave Scott and his family a mortgage-free, specially adapted smart home. Show your support for America's heroes now. Donate $11 a month to Tunnel to Towers at T2T.org. This is Rudy Giuliani, and we're back with America's Mayor Live. This is the front of my my very, very staid, quiet condo on very staid, quiet Palm Beach when Joe and his team showed up today with that beautiful truck. Look at that. Look at that. I mean, come on.
It's a 38-foot
You know, and
international
this-
made in
here's why
America
it
freight
works.
liner.
Most of the people in Palm Beach are patriots. So, you know, they would say, oh, my God, look at that truck. Oh, but look. Oh, my God, look at that truck. Oh, but look. America. Make America great again. Well, there's Dr. Maria. She just came back from Italy. Totally surprised that this is our new car. See, and there's that's Stephen. There's
Yeah.
Stephen greeting, and there's the famous Raleigh. There's Mr. Raleigh right there, and there's a good shot of the truck
Yes.
that has taken over Palm Beach. People are now, you know, people in Palm Beach think this is a car because this is the size of most of their cars.
They want to know what you're up to.
These are the
Rudy.
cars that, when they park cars at like the Trump golf course, they're about half the size of this. That's about the size. Musk is going to make a car like this now. He's going to make a truck like this. You'll be able to go 20 miles with it, and then you can fill it up with.
This is all diesel. It's diesel engine in there.
You want to go every 30 miles? and fill
No,
it up?
no. I like
You
Elon
like
Musk.
electric?
I like what he's doing, but
Yeah, I like him
I'm
too,
all
but-
motor.
Now, this is what he really likes.
Yeah.
What he likes to be on. These here.
These are
And
the
he's
twin
been going
motorcycles.
He's been going around Palm Beach, and the sheriff has been calling because he's using my name. He said, you know this guy?
Well, I have a get out of jail
He
free
said,
card.
You know this guy. You know, Rudy, you know this guy.
Never once got a ticket when I got pulled over with the mayor in the car.
Look. There he is.
I was getting a little excited. Yeah.
We got to get this on. Yeah, these are great, Mayor. We're going to get on video.
Ah,
Who's
Dr.
that?
Maria, she was taking it for a ride.
Yeah, we don't want.
I said, please come back if you can, honey. Don't go too long.
Yeah, we got to get on those bikes, Mayor.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Ultra,
Ultra.
MAGA.
Yeah.
Ultra MAGA. Not MAGA. Ultra MAGA. Look at that. Isn't that great?
Yeah,
So
and
here's
it's
Joe.
hey,
There's Joe.
how are you, Mr. Mayor? So
So-
happy to be here with you.
Joe, it's great that you're here.
Thank you.
You know, we love you. And what you've done has been truly magnificent. Truly, truly magnificent. I can't
Show some pictures of the warehouse. Yeah.
I can't think of anybody that has accomplished as much as you have in such a short period of time to get people focused on what has to be done to fix America.
And you know, I'm really learning that it's coming down to the basics. I had recently, I'm going to be a committee man in Smithtown where I live. Apparently in the New York State, there are over 1,000 empty committee men seats. We're running unopposed in so
When
many
you say
different
committee men,
counties.
Do we have empty ones? Do the Democrats have empty ones too?
No, they got everyone covered.
I bet.
They're covered on every one,
where
every
they-
house, they do beat us up pretty good.
I mean, we did well. Now tell them, you know, Joe and Nassau Suffolk County are one of the reasons we have control of the House of Representatives.
It's a big area, Long Island, and they are
California, New York, believe it or not, that's the reason we got control.
we're able to maintain.
Yeah.
Correct.
In
That's correct.
We have to maintain control, get control, maintain control. We lost a little, but we're still hanging on to it.
Hmm.
We're making, I think, a comeback in those seats.
Oh yeah.
I think we can take some of those back.
I have no mercy on anybody, Mr. Mayor, and I do know that Long Island is red and it's Republican, but I don't know how MAGA they are, and I really think it's a clear distinction. You know, if I want them to be able to say with Ernst, I am an America First candidate, I will make every decision I can for the American people and the American citizens first, and you don't seem to get that out of the Republican Party. Have you heard it?
My problem with the Republican Party go back before you were born, I think. No, I agree with you, but it's a fine line that we have to play here, right? Because we got to have control of that house.
Yes, we do.
And we end up having a certain number that drive us crazy because we don't know. The ones in New York are practical. The ones in New York realize they can't be totally as conservative as we would like because they won't get elected. And then you wonder, are they just being practical, which is okay, or are they just bullshit artists?
I don't, conservative, schmervative, you know, Republican, schmublican. It doesn't make a difference to me, or even a Democrat. If you got to be America first, that's my requirement to come into the warehouse, by the way, which I think is about 86% of the country. It's not bad.
I think it's 86% of the country too.
Yeah.
I think your warehouse would be a great hit in, I can't do the exact percentage, but in most of the country.
Yeah, and honestly, we can
They want
probably reproduce it everywhere in the country. To be honest with you,
Do you ever think of franchise? You know,
I love the
some
idea. I
kind of
mean,
franchising it.
you know, I love
They
the
gotta
idea.
find somebody in each community. Like it does require that extra personality. You know, that you dedicate from the moment you get up in the morning to the moment you go to bed. You dedicate yourself to how am I going to improve my country, right?
Well, it's actually
in whatever way you can.
You're very close to it. I walk in every morning about 6 a.m. into that door, and I open up the door, and what's lit up in the warehouse is the cross. And I say, Lord Jesus, thank you for today. What is your will, and what can I do to please you today? And from that morning, you don't believe what happens to me. Look at me right here. It's just, well, Rudy Giuliani, pinch me, please. This can't be real. It just can't be. So
Go get my prayer beads from the Pope.
you know, I sent you the song from
Get me my
St.
prayer beads
James.
from the Pope. Prayer beads from the Pope. The real Pope.
Yeah, so that's how I start the day, and I think it's kind of it's been working very well for me. And You know, I worry. I start worrying times, and then I feel like there's no reason for us to worry. There's no reason for us to be afraid. Look what God has done for us in this short period of time. He saved Donald Trump from getting murdered. He saved Donald Trump through all of the crises and the problems he put through. Saved you too, Mr. Mayor. And for what's coming right now for us is the greatest time in our lives. It's going to be the greatest time to be an American. I'm so proud to be part of this movement, and I will help every way that I can.
Well, you will, and he's there. He's there. Local races, he's there. Major races, people come from all over the country to raise money, to get attention, to get on TV. He's got TV networks that come there and broadcast out of there.
Yeah.
You have Newsmax, you have OAN.
We
You've
love
had a Real American
Voice. Yeah, well, we love the truth telling company. So you can go through every cable. I got a hotel room not too far from here, and you got about 7 or 8 stations, media channels, CNN 1, CNN 2, MSNBC, and every one of them are just so disgraceful and hard to watch, Mr. Mayor. It's really hard to watch. I don't know how anybody else does. I flip through it.
I can't do it.
You
I'm
can't.
supposed to.
I get. Why don't Ted do it for you? That's what I say.
Do it. Ted tried. He can't do it either. He gets nervous. He starts to get. I tried a couple of times to have him watch CNN and MSNBC. It was useless. He had hives all day. He was going like this.
How can they do it? How can they get away with it?
Rachel.
No.
I can't look at Rachel Maddow.
Yeah.
I listen to her like this.
Yeah. And they try and force that down our throat, but now there's a whole new way to communicate. And look what you do. We were just watching you before on your X channel. You got almost, I think it was 47,000 people watching. So I mean, you got a way to reach the American people now. We all do without having to rely on those network channels. That's gone. It's a new age, and that's where the America First Warehouse really wants to shine, Mr. Mayor.
Another thing that you got to come to realize, because I started podcasting first. So I did it the other way around. I did podcasting first and live second. So let's say at the end of the night tonight, we end up with 147,000. By tomorrow will be 300. Because a lot of people watch us 11 o'clock tonight when they get home, 10 o'clock tomorrow morning when they wake up. And that's the beauty of these podcasts. People can take what we do and they can fit it into their schedule. Right. Maybe they want to listen to it when they wake up in the morning. Maybe they want to listen to it because they have a 1-hour drive in the morning. And they can just go right on and they can reprogram it to exactly when they want to listen to it.
Well,
so
actually,
we pick up 2 to 3 times our audience in what I call the podcast version of it.
Yeah, everybody wants to hear the mayor because really everybody wants the truth. And you got a really great way about yourself. You had me laugh about 4 or 5 times today. I couldn't believe it. But podcast is exactly what you're saying. Tonight, we were just watching, we're competing against you tonight at the America First Warehouse with the Patriots podcast.
Well, they can watch those.
That was yes, well, now with podcasting you can. So the Patriots are on tonight too. I was just watching it down there. They only got like 4,000 people watching them, but I mean, you got the big numbers.
More now. Afterwards, you can go to them and watch them. Do
you go on a lot
I'm
of
on at the same time as Newsmax, and I watch.
Right.
I watch Affinity on Newsmax at like 11
streaming
o'clock
service,
at night or 12 o'clock at night. If I don't watch them then, I watch them on a podcast.
I really dig the War Room. You know them guys?
Steve Bannon.
Yeah.
My uncle.
Your uncle?
Uncle Bannon.
I would say that's a great point.
I like that guy. He's something else.
Well, him and the mayor, I would put those two on the Mount Rushmore of the 2016 campaign. If we put
Steve there.
Where was Ted? Where was he? Just come back from
putting the mayor
wherever he
on there
was
too.
hiding. He was
Steve's on
hiding
there, but
somewhere.
Mayor, you're on there.
Steve's the real thing.
Yeah, well, he did some. He went to jail. He went for what?
He should never have gone.
I
to jail.
know.
It's a disgrace.
Same
Do
as
you know? I actually used to have dreams about breaking him out.
oh, I think I hit a funny bone over here.
Used to have dreams about breaking him out. I know the jail. I know the jail he's in.
Danbury.
I used to run the Bureau of Prisons.
Right.
So my pals like Peter Navarro and him and Bernie, they've gone to jails I know. And I keep thinking, I think I know how to break them.
Did you get him an upgraded suite?
They treated him like a shit. You know, you know what he was told by the warden, and the warden was embarrassed because they're professionals. This is the shots here are being called by the White House to torture him. That's Germany. That's Nazi Germany. That's not America. I never heard of that. If I don't care who, I can't imagine anybody that I ever put in prison or anybody that I was ever in charge of in prison that I would have allowed you to do anything to other than what had to be done. What had to be done for the good of the prison. In fact, it's bad for a prison to do that. The way you run a prison is, if you have any brains, you start off, let's say you got a bad guy. You don't start off by putting them in the worst conditions. You put them in 1 or 2 levels down from the worst conditions. You do that because you want to show him that if he's bad, things can get worse. You don't want him at the worst already. What's he going to do? He's just going to act out.
Yeah.
So you put him down here, and you say to him subtly, there are 2 ways to go. You can have a lot more freedom if you're good. You can have a lot less freedom if you're bad. They just took Bannon, Manafort, they just put them in prison like they were, I don't know, like they were terrorists. They
Like the J6s?
They tortured Paul Manafort
That's it.
to try to get him to flip.
Right. That was with the Ukraine, wasn't it? Was he?
Nobody gives Paul Manafort enough credit. The man is incredibly brave.
Is he still alive?
He's still alive, and you should have him on sometime.
I would love to.
He's incredibly.
I have his signature on one of my paintings.
Paul. They used to take Paul in every 10 days. They take him out of solitary, and Weissman, who's a sick, really sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, maybe he should get some of that.
Weissman used to say, basically tell him what to say so he can get out of solitary. So the guy is a guy who's been a very successful man, right? So they put him in solitary. He's looking at his toes for 22 hours a day, and they take him out. They give him nice food. They make him call his wife, and then they say, "Now come on, Paul, stop bullshitting. You were the contact with Putin." And Paul would say, "I don't even know Putin. If I called Putin, he wouldn't know who I was." Right. Oh, stop that. That what I'm telling you.
I remember
the truth.
I remember it, Mr. Mayor. It's despicable.
I would go through as Trump's lawyer. Will the man break? I wasn't worried if he told the truth. He's only a human being. Will he break? Will he say what they want him to say so he doesn't have to be in solitary? He wouldn't be an unusual human being to do that.
No.
Well, he turned out to be an unusual human being.
Is he still in jail, Mr. Mayor?
He's out.
He's out
of jail, and he's doing very, very well now. As far as I can tell, very well adjusted. He got over it, but he doesn't even know it. I don't think I've ever really spent enough time with him to tell him what I think. I never wanted to talk to him because I didn't want to compromise. I talked to his lawyer all the time.
Right.
So while I was representing Trump, I would talk to his lawyer constantly, sort of to take his temperature, because I was very worried he would lie about us. I was never worried that they would ever come up with the truth, because what they made up, I knew from the very beginning they made up.
Yeah.
I knew they made up Russian collusion, completely made it up. I then found out they made it up in Ukraine. And the reality is Ukraine actually did the collusion. That little the little weasel Zelensky.
Yeah, Zelensky, yeah.
That little weasel Zelensky got the whole file. He could prove the whole thing. If he opened up his file, we probably put 10, 12 American politicians in jail for the rest of their lives.
Well, I think that's coming. I bet it be coming.
You can't imagine how
the American people, have had a belly full of it. We're tired of it. We're no way are we going to put up with it anymore.
And how we give it, the Ukrainian, we're not helping the Ukrainian people. You don't help the Ukrainian people.
Well, how about when he said, I only got 75 billion?
Yeah, but
we gave him 300. But
he doesn't know what happened to 100 billion.
Yeah.
So how's he taking care of his people? The people of the Ukraine are, in some ways, extremely victimized. They came out of communism about 1991. They had a constitution written for them, a beautiful constitution. So was the Soviet constitution, a beautiful constitution. they've had, I think, I may be off by 1 or 2. They've had 10 presidents. 9 of the 10 have been completely corrupt. Some of them used to kill people. There's
good
been only
odds.
one honest one. The one honest one got poisoned.
Oops.
So it's been a totally corrupt country. So now when we think we're going to pry them away from Russia, we got to start thinking, what are we prying away? And are they going to work with us? If we give them 100 billion, how much actually goes into the hands of the oligarchs?
Yeah.
How much goes into the hands of the crooks that we've had working with them?
What do you mean? The Bidens?
Yeah, the Biden.
Oh,
And the
are they
Democrats.
crooked?
They're described to me as a Democratic cash cow. So
Well, the Clintons too. I mean, I always was blown away by that.
the biggest contributors.
The Clinton
to the
Foundation.
Clinton
What's up with
library
that?
is Ukraine.
No
Little-
doubt.
Little poor Ukraine is the
I am
biggest
shocked, Mr. Mayor. I'm shocked that they would do something like that and get involved
I
with the
know you
Clintons
would,
like
because
that. That shocks me
You've always had a very,
beyond my core.
you've always had a very high regard for the Clintons. I know that. I know.
Oh, my goodness.
All over the American
Yeah, a lot of Clinton.
pictures of the Clintons.
Well, we have him in an orange jumpsuit. You didn't see that one?
I see pictures of the Clintons with pitchforks.
Yeah. No horns, no horns.
No horns.
We just want the truth in the worst way. And you were talking about Johnny Eastman the other day, and the Department of Deep Thought had a good time with him. But he loves you so much, Mr. Mayor. I mean, he wants to put some people on like a trial. He wants to do a judge show. It's mutual. I should tell him.
I want to, yeah.
You do, huh?
Slept in my bed twice. You better watch out.
Oh,
When we were working on the case, Dr. Eastman, Professor Eastman, whatever, he really could be. We could do like a series on television. About him, because he's like the quintessential law professor.
he really is.
Like the absent-minded law professor. He would come into my room and he'd start working on his whatever. Because he did a lot of things for us, not just that. He'd work on his theories.
Right.
And then he's working on it, he's writing them down. And then you're staying with him. And then, he goes off somewhere else. So I would get up, I go out, and one day I come back in because I'm working like 5 things at once, and he's one of them. And I come back in and he's sleeping on my bed. He's got his head like this. And I knew he'd been up like 20 hours. And I said, so I called Maria and a couple of people, and I said, what should we do with him? They said, to put a blanket on him. I'm going to it. There's another, I'm going to another bedroom. So he slept there, and we ordered him breakfast in the morning.
He was happy, I'll bet. I know.
But he's such a good man.
Yeah.
And the theory that he was espousing, half the professors in America agreed with, including the biggest Democrat supporter of Hillary Clinton, Lawrence Tribe from Harvard, had agreed with him completely. And then all of a sudden they switched and said, no, the vice president has no discretion. The problem, to make it really simple, is the Constitution doesn't say explicitly one way or the other whether the vice president can hold up the vote or not. Thomas Jefferson, as the vice president, assumed if I'm chairman of the group, president of the group, if there's something wrong, I can hold it up. That's inherent power. And no one has ever said opposite of that. So we don't have a thing in the Constitution that says that he can do it. We don't have a thing in the Constitution that says he can't do it. So it would have been perfectly appropriate for Pence to say, we're going to take 6 days. We have 6 days.
Right. We had some time.
We're going to take 6 days off, and we're going to send it back to the 6 states that are asking us to recount so that they can be sure. We sure as heck don't want to make a mistake. Now, I know the left wing would have gone crazy, but that would have been the right thing to do historically. I think Pence is going to turn out to be like a weakling historically.
I believe he's an adverb. It's pensed. It's a word I likes to do, like Judas stabbed Jesus. Pence stabbed Donald Trump. Pence. It's an adverb.
Might have turned out you sent it back, and you'd come closer, but you'd still lose.
Well, Eastman was upset about the month of December going by.
Yeah.
He brought it to the courts. He brought it up, and they went. It wasn't the right timing.
So
or
instead
something.
of considering it, they spent all their time attacking him.
Mm.
personally attacking him, personally going after him. And up until then, he had been one of the more distinguished constitutional law professors of the United States.
His movie was incredible, where he had two other Harvard
beautiful.
professors on
Beautiful.
there explaining it, and and they only proved his case as far as I was concerned, and your case.
But so now, are you happy with the progress so far?
I
We're out of the
can't.
box, less than 100 days.
I really expected a little bit more from Donald Trump. I'm surprised he's not getting things done as quickly as I expected him to be. Honestly, all right. I mean, he's really. I've seen him build things. I've seen him do things, and I really wish he'd pick up the pace a little bit.
If you picked up the pace anymore, nobody would know what he was doing.
I am
Nobody would be able to
absolutely.
record it.
I am so proud to be an American right now. I love the way he's terrorizing these people. They don't know which way to turn. And you know what the problem is, Mr. Mayor? They're guilty. They are guilty of many, many crimes. And how do they explain? How is Adam Schiff going to explain how he lied? How are the 51 Intels going to explain how they lied to us?
When you go home or later on, I'm not a big advertisement for YouTube. But get the YouTube out of the hearings with Adam Schiff and with Adam Schiff and Cash. Adam Schiff is sitting there like this, and you look in Cash's eyes, and you know he's serious.
Oh yeah,
He said, "Oh shit, this guy's gonna come after me, oh boy." He says, "I will take a very good and fair look at it. And if you're guilty, I will prosecute you to the maximum extent of the law. And if you're not, I won't." And Schiff is saying there, guilty to the maximum extent of the law. I went way beyond the law.
I think he was just elected senator again, wasn't he? He went from congressman to senator.
Doesn't mean anything with California.
What do you mean it doesn't mean anything?
Doesn't
Who
mean
are
anything.
these
They're
people
they're
that
very
are laying in there like me at home,
They're very
looking at their
they're very
TV going, this guy's going to be a
They're
great
people
leader?
who need, why do you think they'll go to psychiatrists?
Well, the whole state of California is a disaster. And I mean, listen, I shouldn't be
A lot
talking.
of
New
the
York is
state-
the same way.
New York is the same way. A lot of them
We're
stay home.
unbelievable.
And the ones who go to psychiatrists are the ones who vote.
We want the America First movement. That's what I really want to be, Rudy. I will do anything I can. I will push the America First movement every day I get up, because really that's what God told me to do it.
It really is a great way to analyze every single issue that comes to you as a public official.
That's correct.
And we may come to even a slightly different conclusion, but to say to yourself, what's best for America? You know what that stops? Saying to yourself, what's best for me?
It's very true. But let me give you another
Most of them
example.
think about what's best for me.
In my quest to get petitions, I was knocking on people's doors, and I found out the best signatures were always the one that had an American flag on the house. So I went to them first. But what I found out is they don't want, build new buildings or housing and stuff. They don't want to pay $20,000, $30,000 a year in taxes. These are young couples I'm seeing with young kids. I'm knocking on the door. Hey, I want to represent you. What's important to you? And really, they're overtaxed. They're overtaxed. They can't fit. I can see the house. They had little girls in there needed some paint on the house. Little girls are running around and stuff. But the parents, I know that. The problem is not, everything is expensive. They destroyed the American middle class. And Donald Trump is going to save it. God has him in his hands. We are in for the greatest time of our lives.
Well, thank you very, very much.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
There's no way I can express to you my appreciation for what you've done. Not just for me, you've done wonderful things for me. I love you. You've been so loyal. I just met you 3 or 4 years ago, and some of my friends for a lifetime have abandoned me. And
I'm sorry about that.
You stay with me. But really, it's how you love this country. And I love people who love. I work for Ronald Reagan.
I voted for him.
I remember a book by William Manchester, written by William Manchester about Ronald Reagan. And he comes to a very sad conclusion at the end, sort of emotional. He says, one of the things that always was a little bit of a disturbance in his marriage with Nancy was, Nancy always knew he loved America more than her.
My mom loved my dad more than the kids. That bothers me.
I don't know if that's true, but until Donald Trump or you and me, I never met people who love America as much. And I see it in you.
Many of us.
But I know there are many of us. I didn't realize there were that many of us.
Yeah.
You opened my eyes to that. I mean, up until
You
then,
are
I
my
thought-
hero,
I
Mr.
thought
Mayor. For
Ronald
coming
Reagan-
from you, I can't get over it.
But I just copy Ronald Reagan.
Me too.
When I was mayor, I stopped it now because issues have changed. But when I was mayor and I had a tough decision, I would say, "What would Ronald Reagan do?" It really would.
Hmm.
And so when all the taxi drivers decided to go out on strike, they all go on strike. So I was Ronald Reagan's lawyer.
He did the
And
he did
air
the air
traffic-
right, the air
I was
traffic
his
controllers.
lawyer. Myself and
That is
Ted.
incredible.
I was his lawyer.
You know what he told them? You get the
So I
word,
said,
you're
okay,
fired.
this is easy. I put out a little thing. I said, every once in a while you get a little upset. You got 3 days to come back. If you don't come back, I'm canceling all your licenses. I'm going to go hire all those black car drivers to become taxi drivers. All these Haitians who want to be taxi drivers, take your place. And by the way, for the 2 days you're gone, people are going to have one of the safest times in New York because you caused all the accidents. They were back in 1 day. They're back in 1 day. Now, I would not have thought of that.
That was
I
great.
did it for Ronald Reagan. I did it from Ronald Reagan.
I was just old enough to
I
vote. He
pretty
was the
much
first
ended-
president I voted for.
I pretty much I never had a municipal strike. I was the only mayor, I think, to never have a municipal strike. And there have been very few afterwards. I mean, I scared them out of it.
New York could use you again, Mr. Mayor. Even if you come in for 50 days, that's what we would do.
Well, let's tell everybody where First American Warehouse is, because sometime in the next month or two, we're going to be out there broadcasting.
I love
When
it.
we
I
come,
love
since We
it.
have to come from Florida. We'll do like 3 or 4 days.
I think we should. We got a lot to
Yeah,
do in a
yeah.
short period of time. And with you guys and your team,
I love
it's incredible.
broadcasting from there. It's great backdrop. Great people.
TheAmericaFirstWarehouse.com.
Beautiful place, right in the middle of Long Island. Beautiful territory. You can take if you come there and watch a show, and then you can go drive around and look at all the beautiful places in Long Island.
Hey, Johnny
Where the
Blanket.
American Revolution was fought.
Where's Johnny Blanket?
There it is.
Johnny,
There
get
it
in
is.
here. Oh,
There it is.
Here's the
There it
warehouse.
is. Look at that flag.
Hey, oh, there is a picture of Joe Biden there. I put that drop with his mouth open. Remember during the
You still have the one where he doesn't have a head.
Can you give us that?
yes, that's the empty suit.
always
Johnny,
worry
stick your head in
about
here. Hey, look at my Johnny Blanket. He helped me get it down. He's got the other motorcycle.
Noisemakers.
Yeah.
Look at all those
All in West Palm.
flags. This is his brother. So this has resulted in my mistaking him for him. Now, is that so
Yeah.
bad?
Does it happen once in a while?
We're switching things in and out. We're
Come on,
carrying a
come on,
piece of
tell-
furniture in and out. And Mr. May goes, which
They
one's
look
that? I
enough
go,
alike.
I'm Joe. And that's
You
John.
guys are not twins, right?
We are.
We are twins.
Are you?
Keep this on there. Yeah, we're putting this up here.
Look at that.
Are you guys twins?
We are. He's 7 minutes older than me.
Not you. It's not your fault.
He's 7 minutes older.
Stay there for a second, sir.
And for all these years, he's been giving me a hard time that I mistake his brother. They're twins.
It was
And
never.
what am I supposed to be, a genius?
I was talking to you. I didn't want to tell you, break your heart. I wasn't
supposed
sure.
to be a genius?
You are a genius, Mr. Mayor. Come
Not
on.
that much.
This is Joe the Box and Johnny the Blanket.
Yeah.
America.
The America First Warehouse, right? The voice in the wilderness.
I wouldn't want to break your heart. Tell you I wasn't. It's okay, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I thought
All day today. I said yes.
no,
sir.
but when I was talking to you the first time, I thought, gee, just calm down a little.
See, you know, you can see it.
Just calm down a little. Just calm down a
He's
little.
so nice to him.
They're a great.
We have such fun with
As
them.
you might imagine, they're a great family. His wife is fabulous.
The first lady of
Yeah,
the
she's
warehouse.
fabulous. Of
Yeah.
course, you wouldn't. You would figure his wife, the poor woman, she probably looks like she's beautiful. Woman. I don't know how she
What?
remained.
That's a wonderful compliment.
Married to you. I have no idea how she remained so beautiful to be married to you. You got to drive it and get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. You run around with.
She was very young. She didn't know a lot back then. Of course I do. I have a broom at the other end.
Well, this only secures the fact that we're going to be there. Oh, there he is with crazy Scott Levato.
Oh, yeah, he's
There's
a
another one of our
maniac.
nuts.
He's a
I can
maniac.
say this because I'm one of them.
Yeah.
There's another nut job that I
And the
know
great
forever.
David's here.
Oh, but he is so good.
That's good stuff, Ted. Where'd you find that one?
Look at Levato's.
Oh, you know who else? You want to talk about the
you see it?
Ukraine?
Yeah, look at Levato now. He's actually not even excited.
No, he just
This
getting
is him.
lined up.
This is him mild.
But Lena Rusiev, the Russian artist,
Yeah.
she was filling me in on how when she was a little baby, because she painted Reagan's face so beautiful. It's a piece in my warehouse. And she was afraid every night that Reagan would drop a nuclear bomb on our house. That's what Putin and the Russian news told them.
And that's how
every
we
night.
won the Cold War.
Every night they told them.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was
Like
afraid.
Trump, you couldn't have met a man who was more opposed to nuclear weapons than Ronald Reagan. And you could never have met a man who had more respect for the power that he had with that little button.
Yeah, it's amazing. He's true strength.
Absolutely. Well, Ted,
Yes, so what a great night. A lot of news today. Well,
what did we miss? Anything?
well,
Where people are pouring over the JFK assassination.
Have they found anything that we
Document,
haven't seen yet? Because we've been on the air.
We are still we're running them through AI. We're reading other people and
Who would have found
crowdsourcing information,
Who would have
trying to
found
get to
Jack
the bottom of.
Ruby? And how did Jack Ruby keep his mouth shut for so long? I never understood
Didn't
that.
they kill him? Jack Ruby got murdered. He got murdered right after, right?
No, you're thinking of Lee Harvey Oswald.
No, Jack Ruby, the owner of the
Jack
rec-
Ruby lived.
he owned
for-
a bunch of bars.
Jack Ruby lived for a dozen years or more.
He shot.
Not right away.
So we'll play the original Zapruder film.
You're thinking of Lee Harvey Oswald.
No, they shot Ruby right after. It was shortly
They did?
after.
I think I read it in the.
No, Ruby died in
Killing
prison of
Kennedy.
illness, I believe, a few years later. Right? Ruby ended up.
He was shot. This is what made a big scandal. He was shot.
Okay.
He was doing a perp walk.
Guys, you're talking about Lee Harvey Oswald. Jack Ruby shot Lee Harvey
I'm old.
Oswald.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, well, obviously the mayor was
I was
wasn't
alive
around, he was
during this
alive.
period of
He was
time.
watching As the World Turns when it was
No,
when they interrupted.
Actually,
the daytime soap opera.
actually, I was watching. I was on the ROTC at the time, and I was in my Air Force uniform when it happened. Jack Ruby's death.
I was right.
You couldn't just ask Gronk.
Arguing with me on that.
What happened to Jack Ruby?
so of course, Jack Ruby died of a pulmonary embolism on January 3rd, 1967 at Parkland Hospital.
Same place Kennedy was taken
Pulmonary embolism.
So he died 5 years. He died 5 years later.
At the same hospital.
as Kennedy was taken.
So here's the point about him. So I believe that there's a very good chance he was part of it, right? Get rid of Ruby because Ruby, who could trust him, he has a big mouth. But how did he keep his mouth shut for 5 years?
Right.
And if there's a mafia connection, Ruby would be the mafia connection. But since it was all Texas, it's pretty easy to be a Johnson connection.
My goodness.
This is the original Zapruder.
This is
You know,
a Zapruder film.
The
that I
amazing
watched.
thing is this all happened, decades ago. And we have it happening right now with Trump. You have the same damn thing happening with Trump.
Yeah. But
They're
it
not
didn't-
answering any of the key questions. Well, ladies and gentlemen, by tomorrow night, we will have digested a lot more of this. We'll see if we can keep Joe around a little longer. That's if they don't, throw us all
You
out
did a
of
thumbs
pocket.
up and that bubble came. Do that again. Good thumbs
And
up.
we're going to ask you to pray for the people of Israel and the people of Ukraine who are being sacrificed for no reason of all. But pray for the people of Iran who should be free, and of course, pray for us and pray for our great president.
Yes.
Thank you, God, very, very much for what you've given us. And God bless America. It's our purpose to bring to bear the principle of common sense and rational discussion to the issues of our day. America was created at a time of great turmoil, tremendous disagreements, anger, hatred. There was a book written in 1776 that guided much of the discipline of thinking that brought to us the discovery of our freedoms, of our God-given freedoms. It was Thomas Paine's Common Sense, written in 1776, one of the first American bestsellers, in which Thomas Paine explained, by rational principles, the reason why these small colonies felt the necessity to separate from the Kingdom of Great Britain and the King of England. He explained their inherent desire for liberty, for freedom, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, the ability to select the people who govern them. And he explained it in ways that were understandable to all the people, not just the elite. Because the desire for freedom is universal. The desire for freedom adheres in the human mind, and it is part of the human soul. This is exactly the time we should consult our history. Look at what we've done in the past and see if we can't use it to help us now. We understand that our founders created the greatest country in the history of the world, the greatest democracy, the freest country, a country that has taken more people out of poverty than any country ever. All of us are so fortunate to be Americans. But a great deal of the reason for America's constant ability to self-improve is because we're able to reason, we're able to talk.